Peace. What's good, YouTube? It's Kareem Samadi back again with another video. So today we're going to get into overcoming life's hurdles, overcoming your biggest problems, your darkest fears, overcoming that shadow. Okay, so the first thing that we got to understand is that life is nothing more than a long, extended mind game, right? And when we understand that life is nothing more than a mind game, and in this mind game, it is a constant inner dialogue between your inner voice and the outer self, between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Life is nothing more than a talk, a constant communication between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And what you take in on a daily basis and what you co-sign your mind with on a daily basis is what crafts that reality. So when you buy into things that bring you down, that limit you, you will feel limited. You will feel down all the time, right? If you've ever met a depressed person, it seems like their reality can never change, especially if they want it to change, right? But they always keep finding some excuse to stay in that same mindset, to continuously stay depressed, because they haven't made up in their mind that, okay, I can move past this, I can overcome this if I so please. I don't have to keep thinking that everything is gonna be bad all the time or that the sky is falling down all the time. Just that shift in mindset, and the more you continue to change how you talk to yourself, talk to your inner self, right? The more you begin to change that, and it's not just thinking positive thoughts, but it's thinking thoughts that will change your subconscious mind. Having inner dialogue that will change your subconscious mind. Because right now, see, a lot of us have programmed our subconscious minds or had our subconscious minds programmed in order to create a negative reality. So when you learn about the subconscious mind and you learn about just how much it's influenced, right? If you get that book, Mind Control 101 by Dandelion Jones, it talks about exactly how your subconscious mind is influenced. And when we talk about media sets up predictive programming for your subconscious mind. A lot of social media will set up predictive programming for your subconscious mind. So you have to really be aware, right? You have to have that third eye open and just be able to discern. But before you can do that, you wanna really look within you first, right? Because when you understand yourself and you overcome those blockages, you overcome those obstacles that you already have within yourself, nothing that happens outside in this matrix is going to knock you off your foundation. So you build that foundation by going within. You build that foundation by being honest with yourself about your shortcomings, being honest with yourself about how you treat yourself, in a mental, physical, and emotional way. How you talk to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself in every aspect. Be honest with yourself about how heavily you identify with what happened to you in the past, right? Be honest with yourself about what you're constantly taking in on a daily basis. When you have accountability, when you have responsibility for self, and you also accept yourself too, rather than running away from yourself so much, but you accept yourself and you surrender. You surrender to the process. You let go of all that has happened. Then you can begin to unravel those layers, and I do this every day. Every single day when I go into meditation, I go through my life with a fine-tooth comb. So everything that I felt might have hurt me, might have made me feel less than, might have brought me into a lacking mindset, whatever the case may be, I become honest with myself and I just surrender. I let the feelings tied to those events pass, especially when it comes to me remembering emotional things that happened in my life, pains, betrayal, right? Mistakes, perceived mistakes, which are just lessons, right? Mistakes are lessons that I have made, lessons that I have learned, right? Going through my life with a fine-tooth comb every time I go into meditation. And when I come out of it, I feel lighter every single time because I've gathered that spiritual light. My mind has changed itself because I've allowed myself time to heal. And I face my shadow instead of running from it or fighting it or resisting it so much. I face that shadow. And so this is one of the many easy ways to do it. Meditation, where you look deep within and you are honest with yourself about that obstacle that you have, right? that hump, that first thing that came to mind, right? That thing that you always avoid, that first thing that came to mind right after I said that, that's the thing that you need to go into meditation and deal with, right? That's the problem that you have to focus your attention on. You know, when you focus your attention on that problem, then you can begin the process of healing. Then you can begin the process of transformation. We are not meant to stay the same. We are not meant to hold on to certain things for so long. We are meant to do better. We are meant to transform at all times. And so overcoming parts of ourselves that hold us back, parts of ourselves that we need to perceive as lessons, parts of ourselves that we need to understand. We have to be able and be willing to face our problems, to let our problems process. You know, the time for escapism, the time for suppression, there's a time and place for everything, but we cannot continue to do those things because at the end of the day, we have to be accountable for ourselves. We have to develop that loving relationship with ourselves to be able to, you know, sit down and have a talk, sit down and, you know, have some beers with ourselves and really just look at what's going on, face our demons, you know what I mean? So, and that's the perfect way to do it. There's many other ways to do it too, because when you start journaling, or let's say you go get therapy and you keep track of your therapy, whatever works for you, honestly, right? It might even be physical activity, whatever the case may be. First, you need to accept what your problem is. And then next, you need to start to become conscious and aware and put yourself in positions that will force you to overcome that problem. So when you meditate on it, it's forcing you to overcome that problem because no longer are you escaping it. No longer are you pushing it down, but you are facing it directly. Or if the problem is something that you face in real time, you put yourself in that position. You know, when you train your mind to do things that you're uncomfortable with, it actually starts to mold, you know, into that simply because of the fact that you are training yourself the same way that you train a muscle. When you train your mind that way, it builds up resilience. It builds up a callus in your mind. And so when you also guard your mind from all these other influences, when you guard your mind and you come to an understanding with yourself and you come to an understanding of how many things are meant to program you, meant to change you, meant to change your way of thought so that you begin to rely on things outside of yourself, so that you don't necessarily process things, and so that you constantly remain a victim in your life and you lose power, you lose control over yourself, right? When you stop buying into those things and you develop that power within, then, you know, when it comes to facing the outside world, you already have control because you built that control, you gained that control over your mind. So whatever's going on in the outside world, none of it will affect you once you really callous your mind. And callousing your mind, it's not a hard thing to do. You know, it just requires discipline, mental discipline. When you train your mind, to deal with everything. And when you train your mind to do that, nothing can change you. Nothing can stop you other than yourself if you allow it to. You can be as physically strong or as physically prosperous as you want to be, but if you have no control over your mind, then that strength or that prosperity means nothing. You know, and that's essentially the key. You know, it's a mind game. So when you change that dialogue that you have with yourself on a daily basis, you know, you have to ask yourself these questions. How am I talking to myself on a daily basis? You have to do an emotional check-in. How am I feeling on a daily basis? Because it's easy to just get caught up in the flow of work, get caught up in the flow of family, get caught up in the flow of kids, in the flow of relationships, whatever the case may be, in the flow of everything going on in the world. But when it comes to your inner world, you know, for a lot of us, we're scared of it. Others of us have been trained to be ignorant of it. It's easy to get caught up and distracted by all these other things. But when you actually take and begin to focus on your mind, begin to focus on that healing, you know, that's when you build that resilience. And actually, you can also do this through physical discipline, because if you're out of shape and you train your mind, you train your body, right? You are creating that mind-body connection to create discipline within yourself, to train, to have a better body, to have a more disciplined body, a healthier body, right? And a healthy body can also translate to a healthy mind because you are pushing yourself. And so once you train your body, you can also translate that into training your mind too, because you can carry over that same mindset, right? And it's perfectly, or not even perfectly, it's very common for us to focus so much on having a healthy and a trained physical body, but we'll neglect our minds, right? You have to also train the mind too, because the mind is more powerful than the body. And when you train your mind, you gain full control over everything, full control over spirit, full control over your body, full control over your past, present, and future, because your mind is higher than all of that. It sees all. So that's really all I wanted to say about overcoming those hurdles, right? Whatever your personal hurdle is, it's up to you to come to terms with that. And when you come to terms with it, then you can begin to then actually your spirit will come through and it'll show you the ways to move through it. It'll show you that in your dreams. It'll show you that, throughout the day, actually, because spirit is always there. It's just very subtle. So be aware of how spirit communicates. Be aware of your inner voice. Be aware of all of that. Be aware of your inner dialogue, because at the end of the day, life is a mind game. And so you're either playing it or you're being played. You're either controlling your mind or someone's controlling it for you. It's up to you. So get Mind Control 101 by Dandelion Jones. Learn more about that. I wish you all luck in your journey. I hope this inspired y'all, and peace.